Well, now let's get to a key hearing later today in connection with the ongoing election interference investigation against former President Donald Trump in Georgia.
Lawyers for Trump's former chief of staff, Mark Meadows, are scheduled to appear before a federal judge in Atlanta today. Meadows is requesting that his trial be moved out of Georgia and into federal court. This will also be the first time we're going to hear some of the evidence against Trump. We're joined now by NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Dilanian and by NBC News legal analyst Danny Cevallos. Good morning to both of you. Ken, let's start with you. So explain to us why Meadows is asking for this to be moved to federal court. What's his main argument here?
Good morning, Joe. Well, there's a 1789 law that says that if a federal official is prosecuted in state court and that official was acting under color of his or her office, they can make an argument to remove the case to federal court. Now, just to be clear, it would still be the state charges. It would still be DA Fani Willis prosecuting, although she might have to get assistance with federal court experience. The main advantage for Mark Meadows would be a broader jury pool beyond heavily Democratic Fulton County. But there are significant questions here about whether this can succeed, mainly because the conduct at issue here has very little to do with government activities and everything to do with an election. And so Fani Willis is going to subpoena the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, to ask him about that call that Donald Trump made that Mark Meadows may have been listening in on, where he asked the Secretary of State to find just the exact number of votes that Trump needed to prevail in the state. And she's going to argue that that had nothing to do with Mark Meadows being the chief of staff to the president or any other government activity, Joe.
Danny, let's bring you in here and talk sort of about the pros and cons of the potential of moving this particular case to federal court. We just heard Ken mention the potential for a broader jury pool. What are other potential advantages for Meadows and the 18 others facing these federal charges? And is there really a chance this happens?
Yeah, first, there's a huge chance. And part of that misunderstanding is that people are calling it a request or a bid or a motion even to get this case into federal court. That's not how removal works. This case is removed. It is in federal court. It may be remanded today, but I think it's helpful to understand that the case it's automatic removal and it's up to the DA to get it moved back down. And all Meadows has to show is a plausible defense. What that means, I don't know. But the point is, the burden is very light. In terms of advantages, there are two major advantages. One is that the jury pool will draw not just from Fulton County, which went heavily for Joe Biden, but farther out within a division within the Northern District of Georgia. It won't be the entire Northern District of Georgia. If that were the case, then frankly, Meadows could almost count on a win because you'd be drawing from such a large jury pool. You'd get out into those rural areas, heavy Trump areas. That's not going to happen here. The division is actually a bunch of counties that are pretty close to Fulton County. It's a mixed bag. But if you're the defendants here, any jury is better than a purely Fulton County jury. And the other major advantage is home court advantage. You take that away from the DA. The DA's office is basically on top of the Fulton County courthouse. Is that a major advantage? Home court advantage? Maybe. Who knows?
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.